How's it going, everybody, and welcome back. I have a pretty fun video today because the next two books I have that came in are ones that you shouldn't be too familiar with. I'm sure some people will know what these are, but in terms of what you're seeing on YouTube channels, these two books in particular aren't ones I've seen pop up on anybody's lists, anybody's videos. And as I mentioned before, for Marvel, I'm only really into Spider-Man. I have a little bit here and there dipping in for just random books that I like. I do like a lot of those heroes, but a lot of them are on a lot of people's radar, so I've been avoiding those. As you know, I'm really DC heavy. My main bread and butter is Batman, but other than that, I've mentioned I'm tackling Justice League of America, Showcase, and Brave and the Bold. A lot of the big keys first appearances, or Silver Age first appearances in those runs. So these next two are more awesome DC Silver Age keys, but from two completely different runs. And actually, I believe I misspoke, because one of them is a Charlatan Comics key, another publication that I've been tracking down a few different keys. As I've shown off before, I have the Blue Beetle #1, first appearance of the Question. I have the Fightin' 5 issue 40, the first appearance of Peacemaker Christopher Smith. And there's a couple more in that run I'd like to snag also. A lot of those, same thing. Some are a little bit more on the radar than most, but these next two keys I'm really excited to show off with you guys. A lot of guys on YouTube that are even into DC, you'll see, so I'm starting to see some of the similar books, and that is because they are amazing books. But while everybody's kind of looking over there at Batman 121, first appearance of Mr. Freeze, and things like that, I'm kind of looking over here at a lot more obscure keys for ones that I want to add to the collection. I think I mentioned it before that I actually recently, this past weekend, went back and rewatched the entire Justice League to Justice League Unlimited animated show, all the episodes, all the seasons, everything. And in addition to the original Batman animated series, and to a lesser extent the Superman animated series, that is kind of what I grew up with, and that is why a lot of the love I have for characters that are not just Batman and Spider-Man comes exclusively from those shows. So other than the titles I've mentioned, I've been tracking down a lot of people that appeared in those shows. So some keys a little bit harder to get, some pretty cheap because nobody else wants them or cares about them. See my next video, after a haul video, you'll see some of the newer, more affordable keys that I have for characters that appeared in those ones. The two I have today, though, are a couple big boys. So without further ado, let's take a close look at these two books I picked up. Alright, so the first book I want to share with you guys is Doom Patrol issue 99. This is DC Comics from 1965. I have this in an off-white to white pages 8.0. And this one, again, a lot of you hardcore DC heads will probably know, this is one I did not discover until fairly recently. This is the first appearance of Beast Boy, Garfield Logan, who later becomes the Changeling. So as I mentioned before with the animated shows, this is one where some of you are going to get on my case a little bit, because I grew up, I actually did not watch the original Teen Titans show. I believe it was on sometimes at my house. I don't know if it was my little brother or little sister that were watching it, and sometimes I would kind of sit in with them. But my love for the Teen Titans, and Beast Boy specifically, comes from Teen Titans Go, which I know a lot of people hated. However, me and my little brother loved the comedy and the humor that Beast Boy and Cyborg had in that show, that bromance they had that carried it. And even Robin in that show, we laughed our butts off more times than none. So I still need to pick up the main appearances of the rest of the Teen Titans, as well as the first appearance of the Teen Titans in general, but I thought I would start off with what I considered one of the harder ones to grab, which is Beast Boy's first appearance, who again came out in 1965. So you have this amazing purple cover. Everybody knows I love these purple covers. You got that green of the caterpillar coming right off the page, the Doom Patrol right there front and center. And even though it is not a huge part of the book, you do have Beast Boy right here in the panel, so he is on the cover in a little bit of his changing form. So not front and center, but he is there. So this was a really cool book. once I figured out what his first appearance was, I definitely had to have it. And again, nothing crazy, but let's go ahead and show you the back of the book. Again, just what we're used to, a little bit of comic strip, pretty plain, but this is one at some point I may get not upgraded, but swapped out to one of their newer cases. But for an 8.0, it presents beautifully. I was going to say deep dark purple, vibrant greens and reds and oranges, everything I would like in a book. So without further ado, let's get into book number 2 that I was able to grab. Alright, here we have Space Adventures issue 33 from Charlton Comics. This is from 1960. I have this in a 6.0 off-white to white pages. The significance of this book is it is the origin and first appearance of Captain Atom, who we do have front and center on the cover. This is another book that, as I mentioned, I'm going back and I rewatched all the animated series. He doesn't get as much standout moments as a lot of the other characters that I'm tackling, but I do love that conflicting, that when the army calls him back in kind of Cadmus Labs, it puts him at odds with Superman and the Justice League. And it's that kind of same thing we had with Shazam and Superman in an earlier episode. So, just a really cool character. I loved his addition to the team. I love tracking down these more obscure characters from the team. And if any of you are not familiar with him, or you might be but don't recognize, in the animated shows, pretty much since DC took him on, Captain Atom is completely silver, looks almost metal, much like Colossus from the X-Men. So that was pretty much when DC bought out the rights to some of the Charlton Comics characters. Captain Atom and the Question that I also have were included in that. Question, it looks like, stayed relatively the same. Captain Atom got a huge makeover. I think his origin is, I don't know if it's vastly different, but different. His appearance is definitely vastly different. But this is another one that I was honestly a little shocked. It is from 1960, so it is older, and it is a 6.0. So nice 10-cent book, but this was honestly a lot pricier than I thought it was going to be, given it is not a character that anybody really talks about or seeks out. I paid a decent penny for this book, but it definitely had, I wanted it not necessarily in just the highest I could get, but I noticed on a lot of the copies available, the cover was either faded, had a fair amount of wear. So this one has a very, very nice, vibrant, deep, almost like that red-orange on the cover. Everything with the title dress and the character itself is nice and clear, front and present. Most of the damage is delegated to the edges of the book. And like I said, you have, in this issue, introducing Captain Atom right here. Close-up of the back. Again, nothing too crazy, but I like to show off the entirety of the book. So, random deep-cut, obscure character. He's gotten a little bit of love in some of the animated movies. I've seen him pop up here or there. I think he was essentially used as a nuclear bomb in the Flashpoint storyline. You kind of kept wondering what, I think it was Aquaman that had him as a weapon. And when it was unveiled that he was the weapon being held captive, it was kind of one of those, yet another twist that awesome storyline had. So there we have it, Space Adventures 33, first appearance of Captain Atom. And there we have it, everybody. 2 new awesome additions to the collection. Extremely happy to have these books. And like I said, there's a lot more popular characters, popular books that I'm looking to get on the DC side of things, but I figure while everybody's looking over here, I'm going to look over here and grab these. There's definitely books I want that are more popular, but as I said, I've seen a lot of them pop up in other people's videos lately, so I know they definitely got people's attention, but I can't think of a single video that I have seen either of these books in the history of me watching comic book YouTube videos, so I thought it would be extremely cool to show these off, because hopefully you guys aren't as familiar with them also. Like I said, I found out very recently these characters' first appearances were in these books, so I knew I had to have them. But my next one, I have 2 newer slabs coming in. I have a little bit of a haul we still have to do, but my next 2 slabs are also characters that were prominently featured, I want to say prominently, they were featured to a reasonable degree in the animated shows, but they're a lot newer, a lot cheaper, but I still wanted to have them because of their significance in the show. After that, I still have a little haul to do with you guys that is stacking up. I finally have started uploading pictures to my Instagram, Conlon's Comics. So if you check out the YouTube channel, check out the Instagram. That one kind of has a sneak peek of some of the raw books that I've been snagging and getting here and there that I will put into a haul video. But thank you guys for checking out another video. Until next time.